everyone, Therese here. Happy Wednesday. I've got some more karma cards for you. But first, today I have a message from the team that I want to share with you, and a little mini quiz about receiving. How good are you at receiving? So let me talk about this. So first, the message from the team. They want you to know you are more supported, more protected and supported than you are even ever consciously aware of. 24/7 love and support streams down on you at all times. And it's especially important to know that when you feel like you're going through low or difficult times, that they're always there supporting you, number one. But due to the programming and conditioning we've all gone through, and one of the little codes of conditioning is part of the question I have for you. So I'm gonna ask you that question. But due to that, we have all, over time, developed trust issues around support. So even though we definitely want to feel supported, we don't always trust that we are supported. So what I am being asked to talk about right now is just understand, number one, that you are supported more than you can understand. And two, let's find out if you have expectations around what divine support looks like, and see if you do, if you can open that back up, because that's all it's required of us, is just to open our mind, open our thinking, open our heart back up. So how do we receive divine support? We receive it through an open heart. And the message, I'm sorry, I know I sound like a broken record sometimes, but the message continues to be, this journey is about you. Don't forget it. Don't forget that. Don't get sidetracked. Don't get waylaid on that. This has always been about your growth journey. That's what you're here for. And you have 24/7 support. Now, I'm going to mention a movie that I always think people have seen this movie, and then I learned last time that all the movies I've seen might not be the they don't get seen for some reason. But have you ever seen the movie Vanilla Sky? Oh, if you haven't seen it, I'm probably going to give you a spoiler. So, but it's old, and if you haven't seen it by now, I don't think you care. But in the movie Vanilla Sky, he finds out through the second half that he's in kind of like a lucid dream state, right? And there's this guy that's always like there in this lucid dream state, and he freaks out and he thinks that this guy's after him, right? He's having like this paranoid thoughts about this guy. But it turns out that this guy represented tech support. And of course he was always there. He's 24/7 tech support. Should something go wrong, should something inside the dream go off, that guy was there to help him, right? He was there to help him. So the reason I bring this up is because we have 24/7 tech support, divine tech support, always with us. They are assigned to us, just like that guy in the movie was assigned to him. They are assigned to us, and they are here to make sure that any request, any support you need is offered to you. And all you have to do is ask. 24/7 tech support, all you have to do is ask. Now, just like in that movie, that's why I bring it up, because it's a perfect example. In that movie, he freaked out. He didn't know he had help. He could see the guy. That's the one benefit that he had. We can't see our tech support, but we have it. He could see that character, but he never asked for help, and the character never did anything. He just sat there. He just stared at him. He was just kind of like patiently waiting. And that's like our spirit teams, our divine team in spirit are just sitting there patiently waiting, won't interrupt you. If you feel like you're having a hard day or a meltdown or whatever, they're just going to sit there and gently hold space for you quietly. And their first oath is to your free will, meaning that your free will is of utmost importance to them. So if you want to have difficulty, or if you want to do it alone, they will abide by that and allow you to do things alone. They will allow you to feel unsupported if that is your choice. Now, most of us don't realize that we make any choice to feel unsupported. When we're conscious of that, we're like, oh God, no, I want support. Yes, please help, right? Like that's what we do when we recognize we're not asking for it. And then sometimes we ask for it, but then we assume that was, the asking, like, yes, of course I want support. And we're kind of leaving a ... in our mind, like forever, like, of course, support me forever. They don't work like that either, because free will is a universal law and must be respected, your free will. So it is never assumed that when you ask for assistance or support once, that you're asking for it all the time. Every moment, each day is a new opportunity, and you might want to do this by yourself, or you might want divine support. So our teams are not, they're not being withholding from us when you feel like you're not getting support the next day or the day after or the next month, right? No, they're simply, that lack of feeling their presence, that lack of feeling a sense of support is simply the kind of like internal alert system that you're not asking, that you can ask more. And in fact, that's what they say to me. They say, you don't ask enough of us. And when I've talked to other people's teams, they have a very similar message. Like, you don't ask enough. You can, this group is assigned to you forevermore. So all they can do is really work with you, your core team, right? So imagine that. I just want to, let's flip the circumstances and be in their shoes for a moment. You are assigned to one person as your job, and that one person is the one person you will assist. And you will only assist them when they call you. So you're sitting there by your phone, like waiting, waiting for them to come. That's your only job. That's what you do. So how bored would you feel if you had to sit on standby 24/7? I bet you'd be itching for them to call you more often. So, some of us have this feeling of like, I don't want to impose, or maybe I'm supposed to do this myself. My team says, no, that we're eagerly awaiting your call. So we can never ask enough, basically. All right. So that's kind of the lowdown on divine support. So my little quiz here is to ask a few questions on, are you having trust issues with receiving support from the divine? You might have 1, you might have 0. If you have 0, well done you. But most of us struggle in one of these little areas where we're blocking support, even from other people. We can block it from other people, or we can block it from the divine. So here are a few questions I have for you to really think about and see, like, does it resonate? Do you feel like that's something that you think about or do? And then we can start opening up to, well, how can I let that go if I want more support? Okay, so question number 1. Do you expect fast turnarounds from your team when you ask for support, when you ask for help? Do you expect it like that? And it's absolutely okay, whatever you answer, because this is more about discovery than it is about perfection, right? Who cares about perfection? But if you expect fast turnaround, this has been trained into us, right? We are trained all the time. We're conditioned to want instant gratification. And remember, when you're asking for support from anybody, from the outside world or from the divine, it does it's instantly recognized. You are heard. When you're working with the divine, and let's say you need it to manifest, right? I need to manifest this money, or I need to manifest a new job or a home or whatever it is. If you're expecting like an instant response to that, that's a little bit, right? We can understand that that's unreasonable. When we're out of fear, when we're out of a lower vibration, we recognize that yes, the call is received. And just like if you were to call someone on the earth plane and say, I need your assistance here, even if they said, yeah, I'll help you, it's going to take a minute before it happens. So if we're expecting fast turnaround, we're creating a trust issue between ourselves and our divine team, our higher self, right? So that's one thing we can do to kind of like understand, like, am I allowing things to happen in energy and unfold in the world with divine timing? Because that's the timing they work with. They work with divine timing. And sometimes when it comes to divine timing, a few little things have to be moved around for that timing to line up for the perfect opportunity. And that's what we want. We want it to be divine. We want alignment. We want the best of the best of the best. So we must allow for that when we're working with divine assistance. So the next question, to see if there's a trust issue around receiving any kind of assistance, especially from the divine. Do you have an expectation on what that looks like? Okay, so this is very common. I fall into that trap all the time. I think I know what I want, right? I think I know what I need. And yet I'm on the ground in my life. I'm on the forest floor, if you will. And my team and your team, they have the 75,000 foot view. So I might be asking, open a pathway going straight. I might say that metaphorically. And they might look down from their position and go, shit, there's a bear on that path. We're not sending her that way. That's not going to be the best. That's not going to be the most aligned path for you. So no, we're going to make you go left. We're going to offer you options to send you to the left, right? And I'm just talking metaphorically about what it looks like. So again, from our human self, from inside the middle of our life, we have strong expectations sometimes about what assistance or help looks like from the divine and or other people too. What we have to do here to open this back up so we can trust more is trust that what comes is the best version. It's what we can't see, right? We're asking our higher self, right? So it's the higher version of you has that 75,000 foot view. It's you looking out for your own back. That's a big part of your spirit team is you. So when you get this call and you're like, no, I really want it to look like this. It's got to come like this. This means I'm taken care of. And then it shows up as something else. We can trust that this was better. We can reframe our expectations. So we can ask for something specific and say, I want it to look like this. I want it to have this shape or this amount or whatever it is. This or better, which allows us to open up our mind to seeing the bigger picture, because we can't always see it when we're in the middle of it, what it is we really need, right? So it's always this or better. Third question I have for you to see if there's any kind of trust issue with receiving support and divine help is, do you expect to be able to touch it? And what I mean by that is, do you expect it to have a physical manifestation component? Right? Sometimes the assistance we get will come in the form of inspiration. It will come in the form of a new thought or a divine guidance direction. It'll never have a physical component. You'll never be able to hear it, see it, smell it, touch it, taste it. But does that mean it wasn't received? Oh no. What it means is that your soul looked at all the options and it recognized that in certain circumstances, sending you inspiration was going to give you the greatest reward. It was going to give you this plus several other things that you're not seeing yet. So when we're expecting it to have a physical world counterpart, when we're asking for assistance, we can put in that request. I'd like a physical outcome, right? I'd like to know that I got it for sure. And yet we've got to hold that with an open palm and let it sit there. Let it know that whatever's coming through is exactly what you're supposed to get and has And whatever it is, it's got a greater value than what you may have originally asked for. So the next question is, and this one, I feel like a lot of people have this. Do you have a core belief that you have to go it alone? I was raised with a certain belief, like you live alone and you die alone, and those are the things that are, or you're not live alone. You're born alone and you die alone, and those are the two things you could be certain of. Well, and that is true. I mean, that is a true statement. However, you can hear in your mind that it sets up a program, you're alone. Now, when I was told this statement, I know the person who said it with the best intentions. It was meant to be empowering. But what it really does is it programs in the idea of isolation. And the lower and false timeline, that is their aim. They want you to believe in separation. They want you separated, divided, and weak, and alone. Because humanity's greatest fear isn't death. It's not death. It is being alone. Let me give you two options and tell me what you would choose. If I said you have a choice between dying right now or being boxed up in a white room forever with no outside world contact, but you'll be alive, you'll be kept alive, but you'll be completely isolated from humanity forever, which would you choose? Right? Most people say, I would rather die than go through that experience. That's because our greatest fear is the fear of being alone and not the fear of death, like some of us think it is. It's that fear of being alone. So this belief that you have to go it alone was programming, and it was done intentionally to keep you in a state of fear. It was done as part of this negative timeline process that's dying. It's the false negative timeline is dying for sure. It was created to keep you in a state of low vibration and fear, because your greatest fear is that you're alone. And if you ever caught wind of the fact that you're actually never alone, well, when people get that, when they get that understanding that they're never alone, even when they're physically alone, they're never alone. When they understand that, it raises their vibration naturally, but it also makes them feel empowered. Suddenly, when you feel like you have support, well, now you can create from this singular place. You can start creating anything because you're never truly alone, right? So one of our blocks to receiving divine support is believing that we are alone. Well, that just shuts the door to them. They're still there, but now we've put a door in the way. So you don't have to do it alone. You could ask for support on every single decision in your life forevermore. However, you're going to have to ask every single time because free will again. And you might not feel that that's necessary to do. There are times where we want more support, and then there are times where we want to test ourselves and our ability. And I think that's very natural. That's human nature, right? But if you've got that limiting belief of, I have to go it alone, that's what's blocking you. That's what's creating a trust issue in really knowing that they're there, because they are so there. And when you open this door all the way, the amount of the rich amount of love, the trust, the knowing, that deep sense of peace, all of that starts flooding in when you really know that you don't have to you were never designed to do this alone. And proof will start flooding to you rapidly as you open that door back. Right. And then the last thing that can create trust issues in receiving support from the divine and from others is, are you expecting it to come from a certain direction? So this is kind of like us trying to control what the support looks like. Like, I expect to be supported by this person or this franchise or company or whatever, right? This platform, whatever it is. I expect that to support me because maybe we have these expectations because we've given that person, that franchise, that platform so much of our support, right? So we are sort of looking for reciprocal support, which is it's transactional thinking, which is okay. I mean, that's part of the energetic exchange process, is a type of transaction. But that's not how divine energy flows. It's always flowing to you, but you're the one who has to turn your head to receive it, if that makes sense. So you will always get back what you put out there, right? That's the golden rule. This is the energy. What you put out, you get back. So if you're putting out loads of compassion, love, kindness, and forgiveness to people in your life, and you're like, can I get a little support back? And you're not getting it, and then you start to feel frustrated, bitter, resentful, and things like that. That's because there's this belief in there that I expect my support to come back to me from the sources I give it to. And that's not necessarily how the universe works. What you'll find is that the more we can practice giving freely our support without expectation of return, we will actually start to feel all the support that flows back to you, right? When you let go of, it has to look like this, or it's got to come from this person because I invested so much energy here. That street might always be a one-way street. And honestly, when you stop expecting that person or that direction to flow to you, you're okay with it. You become really okay with any energy that feels like a one-way street, because you recognize that maybe, just maybe, in this certain situation, I am meant to be the river that flows to them. When you recognize that, there's no more bitterness, no more resentment, no more anger. It's peace. It's like, oh, okay, the river goes downstream in this direction. But then you turn and you're like, this is what's coming to me. And it's coming from a completely different direction. So when we can let go of that expectation, it just, again, these things open back up. Message that they want you to hear from them and receive right now is to hand over any of your fears to your higher power, and to see this, to see any struggle or suffering you go through in your life as an opportunity to heal something, because that's all it's trying to show you. When we're struggling or in a lower vibration, all it's trying to show us is, this is the area where my cup feels empty, right? This is the area where I struggle. That's all it's showing you. And when that happens and you're aware of it, like, aha, this is the moment, this is the place that I want to fill with love. When you have that awareness, when you hand over the fear about it and you just see it, the love starts to flow in, because you're now receptive. You're now ready to receive it. And that's their message for you this week. So with that, I want to go to karma cards. Those who are new to playing this, let me quickly explain it. I have 3 decks. I've already asked my team in spirit, what message do you have for me right now? And I've pulled the answer. And I have 2 sets of answers. So I have got the planets, signs of the zodiac, and the houses of astrology. I've got an action set of answers in red and an outcome set of answers in blue. And all you do is tune into yourself and feel, what do you need right now? Do you need action or outcome or both? While you're feeling into that, let me give you the timing of this reading. So my last karma cards overlaps today, and it goes till tomorrow, the 21st. So this one is starting really kind of on the 21st, tomorrow, through the 27th of January. And the flavor of this reading is Mars in Sagittarius in the 1st house. Now, this is really interesting that Mars comes up, because Mars formed a conjunction with Uranus today, and it's a very powerful conjunction. It's very, I mentioned it a little last week, but now it's like locked in place, which means there's a lot of strong energy. These are 2 powerhouses kind of coming together. Mars is the planet of action, and Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius, and we're in the age of Aquarius now, is the plot twist planet. So when these come together, it can mean like it can actually feel quite volatile. Like I got to do something, I got to take action. And it also means that sudden changes happen, big plot shifts happen. So this is this is a conjunction that's happening now for a while. We're in it for a little while. I can't remember how many days it lasts, but we're here to go through this energy. And again, like last week, the good news is they're being anchored by Taurus. So this does two things. It means that the physical world is activated in this conjunction, meaning we'll see things happen that feel like, wow, like I did not see that coming, right? So that comes in. But it also grounds the energy down where you've got a fire planet and an air sign coming together, or an air planet rather. And these are combustible when they get together. So the earth sort of dampens that a little bit. But the caution here is to beware of being impulsive. So instead of being impulsive, ask your team, right? Ask for support before you get impulsive. All right, so let's go into the reading. So for those who choose action or red, your spiritual action at this time is energize your highest ideals immediately. You know what I hear when I read that? Higher timeline. Choose it. This is a moment we're out of third density. So even though we feel like the world is the same, it is not. It is different. We're in fourth density. The polarizing, bifurcating timelines are here. We feel them. And it is called the choice point. So in materials like the Law of One and the Book of Daizan, they talk about choice points. So this is very important for us to be choosing, be very decisive about what timeline you're on, because there are two prominent ones and many in between that. Okay, so I've seen people all over the place. So energize your highest ideals immediately. Get on that higher timeline right now, is what it says. Say, I choose the higher timeline. I'm on the higher timeline. That's a choice in conviction. Then you've got to start matching it. The higher timeline is for the good of all humanity. I don't know what that looks like, but I've chosen it and that's where I am. That's conviction, right? Your mental action at this time, confront the rules of the way you project yourself. Confront the rules of the way you project yourself. So with confront, that's Mars coming in. I'm just trying to think about how this is the way you project yourself. This is the journey. So the way it feels like it's a continuation of the first message, which is get on the highest timeline now. The way you project yourself. If you believed you were on the highest timeline, how would you act? How would you behave? Are you coming from that? Are you a vibrational match to that higher timeline? So maybe the rules are the self-imposed rules that we have, right? What we think has to happen. Oh, I have to see proof. I have to feel myself going up the stairs in energy. Do you? Or do you get there because you've chosen it? That's something to meditate on. Physical action. Force yourself to get out into the world and do it on your own. Okay, that feels counter, guys, to what I was just talking about. Do it on your own. This is the first house talking, and it's the house of self. It's the house of how we perceive ourselves and put ourselves out in the world. So this one, it keeps reinforcing that idea of I have to do it on my own, but it's more from an independent and pioneering place than it is from a place of isolation, okay? Force yourself to get out into the world and do it on your own. This feels like a continuation of the message that was coming through before, which was all about authenticity. The higher timeline, the natural timeline, resonates to authenticity. So when you feel like you need to shut down, when you feel like you need to close yourself up, no. You don't need to. What you need to is to ground into your own authenticity. It looks different for everyone. It has different meanings for everyone. One of the things we'll finally get at some point as we break down the entrainment of the conditioning we've been through is that everybody has their own perspective, and it's okay. It is okay. It doesn't damage your point of view if someone else holds a different point of view. So many people are controlled by the hive mind training we've gone through. And if you don't think you have, just think about what traditional schooling looks like. Does that look like hive mind? Like there's a right answer and a conditioned response that you want to get? It does. So that's old paradigm stuff, right? This one line of thinking, this one reality, this one way. So as we start to get our bearing and standing in ourselves, we're going to have to, one, be okay with that feeling of I'm standing kind of awkwardly alone, and two, I'm okay with someone else having their own opinion, standing somewhere else, having a different experience that might be counter to mine. I am okay because I don't put my safety, I don't put a sense of security in everybody thinking like me. I have let that go. That is not the age of Aquarius. The age of Aquarius is visionary, forward thinking. It's what you haven't seen. And sometimes it's what you haven't experienced. So part of what we're being asked to do here is let it go and stand in yourself. It's going to feel a little shaky for us if we haven't practiced it, but you know how you only get better with practice, right? So that's what they keep continuing to ask us. So let's go to blue or outcomes. For those choosing blue or outcomes, your spiritual outcome is the drive for insights to understand who you are. I love it. Yes. The more you stand in your authenticity, the more you hold anchor in yourself, the more you choose the timeline you're on, the more you start to get who you are. These periods of time where things feel unsettled and uncertain, it shows you who you are. And if you like what you see, go deeper into it. And if you don't, that's okay. This is an opportunity. It's just an opportunity to grow and adjust. We'll all get plenty of these throughout our life. We should be, right? That's kind of the point of a spiritual growth journey, is to get opportunities to tweak and adjust our creation. You are your greatest creation. You're always going to be tweaking. It's tweaking it. Tweak the creation, right? Okay. Mental outcome at this time, confronting of the wisdom of your desires, the confronting of the wisdom of your desires. So remember how I said to you, we're in a choice time period. It's, this time period is called the choice in some sacred texts. What this means is we need to start consciously choosing what we're creating, what we are. We're no longer a product of something else. You are not a product of the outside world, no matter how much that old paradigm tried to force you into a box or to conform to anything. You're not that. And that awareness is dawning on everyone, right? Some of us are deeper in it than others, but it's dawning. You are your choices. And the more we get that, the more that we get that we are like the sum of our choices, right? And I mean, you're more than that too, but in this experience, your life becomes the sum of your choices. Then you could start to get really, I was going to say persnickety, but that's not the word. But you become really clear on what you're choosing. When you start to realize that you're the sum of all your choices, then it becomes more important to choose wisely. This is coming into play now, and people are starting to, it's dawning, okay? It's the dawning of that awareness, and I love that. All right, the physical action at this time. Action resulting from the understanding of your actions. Could they make that any more redundant? Let me say that again. Physical outcome. Action resulting from the understanding of your actions. So again, I would say action or new choices resulting from the understanding of the choices you've made, right? So we're not here to judge. We are in what's called judgment time, but it's not the judgment that we've been, again, told to believe it is. It is a judgment without condescension. It is a judgment without superiority. It is a judgment coming from a place of deep love. And so the intent of this period is not to judge yourself as good or bad. It is to decide if it's a match to you authentically or not. And what you might find during this period is that some things are not an authentic match to you. And you're going to go, do I have to keep holding this if it doesn't match me? Right? And no one's going to be able to answer that. Only you will be able to answer that. And so what I get is there are new choices resulting from you reviewing past choices, right? You're going to get into this place of like really examining it. Now, this is what I call a self-life review process. This is something that we often hear about being related to after we die, but we're in a completely different period of time. It breaks the rules. It breaks the paradigms of what we think we know. And I've been talking about this for a few years because some of us have been experiencing it for a while. As we get these ascension upgrades that are coming in, by the way, we're in another magnetic storm, so we're getting more for sure. But as we are receiving these and getting these, we start to learn about, we start to have these life review processes, which feels like judgment day inside our own head. And we're being asked to not go back into and rehash old feeling, old pain, but we're actually being asked to sit back and observe the story that we watch. So this is what it looks like for some people, is that they're going along with their day and flash memory of an event, right? And now they get to see themselves and they see other people and they finally see how other people saw them, and they go through this very like existential crisis moment where they're like, oh my God, I can't believe I acted that way or said that or hurt that person. I now see something I didn't see before. And when that happens, these natural self-review cycles for healing, when they come up, people can get reactivated. They can actually go back into the drama and reactivate the drama, pain, trauma, suffering. And you don't have to do that. In fact, it doesn't serve the purpose. The purpose is to sit back and almost watch it like you're watching a movie, and then see yourself, see others, and look at that and say, is that the choice I'd make now? And many times you might get no, because these are about healing, right? So it's about bringing up the pain and trauma. You'll get no. But what you'll also see is, if you're coming from that place of love and compassion for yourself, you'll see, oh, I thought that was the best choice at the time, or I didn't see another way, right? I can see that. I can see that I felt like that was the only way I could go. And when you get to that point, you trigger the love, forgiveness, and compassion that part of you has always been looking for, has been waiting for. That is the time period that we're in. So when we start to review our life choices, it is not a type of judgment that condemns, but rather a more discernment about what happened, and is it you? Is that pain you carry around with you, you? Do you deserve to continue punishing or suffering from it because you don't agree with it anymore? Or can you now give love, compassion, and kindness to yourself and realize all that chapter wants is a resolution? And when you can get to that place, healed. That's healed. And that's like bringing a soul fragment back. Okay, it's deep work. And it used to be that we had to go search for them. Okay, we had to go search and do this work. But the world has turned in energy into a higher energy. And now those pieces are coming to us. They're coming in and they're saying, please heal me. I'm here. I haven't been seen and I want resolution. The hardest part about, and it's great, I love that they're coming back to us. The hardest part about that process is that they come to you when you're not prepared. You're not prepared for it, okay? So sometimes you'll be doing something and it like feels like you got hit with a Mack truck of memories. So when that happens, if you can process it then, do. If you can't, just talk to that part of you and say, you know what? I'm going to unpack this at a later time because this is not the right moment for me. And it's you responding to you. So of course it's going to be like, okay, you know? So I just wanted to give you that. I think this message is really strong. And I think that the energy, you're going to start feeling this more. The deeper we go in, we just started December 21st. The age of Aquarius went, it was like a stopwatch. That's what my team showed me. They like had a little stopwatch and they went start like that on December 21st. And I went, oh, okay. So, you know, we haven't even really gotten into the energy. If we were merging into a pool right now, we would have like our toes underwater. That's it. So we got a lot of this energy that we're going to go through. This is just the start. So with that, I hope this message gives you, I hope it gives you encouragement and love. I hope it lifts you up. And I especially hope that it helps you see if you are blocking or not trusting the support that you receive from the universe. You are heard, you are loved, you are deeply, deeply cared for, and you are here for a very special reason. So of course you have a support team, and they want you to know they have your back all the time. And with that, I'm sending you guys so much love. I hope you have a fabulous week, and I will see you next week. Bye. Thank you for watching. Subscribe now and hit the notification bell so that you know the next time I release a new video. Until then, stay magical.